What do you make of the season that Barkley had last year as he piled on the yards to get over 2,000, and what can that look like this year?
His year could have been much better with different circumstances here. So he was great. I assume he'll be great again. You want to take Jahmyr Gibbs? I don't have an issue with it, but, Barkley, yeah, you're going to lose the tush push.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
This is interesting. Minus 116s, minus 120s in the marketplace. We're seeing now minus 140s across the board and 6.5s on the total.
He's not a big strikeout pitcher. His metrics look terrible, but he somehow seemingly get 5 innings, 6 innings, only 1 earned run. It's because he's a super ground ball pitcher, induces that soft and medium contact. He can essentially sap the power away from the Dodgers.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Drummond gives you minutes off the bench. I've always been a big Kelly Oubre guy. And Nick Nurse is supposed to be one of the top 5 coaches in the world. You can't tell me that at 12-1, the Philadelphia 76ers aren't at least something you need to consider as a sleeper to make it to the NBA Finals.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How are you going to compete against a guy with 15 entries?
A lot of the guys that won Survivor at the Circa, because since I'm there every single year for contest weekend, one guy won it all with 1 entry. And the truth is, he told me that he maxed out his entries the next year because he had the money to do it, and it was a brain. It messed with his brain, right?
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Hello and welcome to a Wednesday Live right here on the early line on SportsGrid and all across the SportsGrid network. That includes sportsgrid.com/watch, where you can find your favorite destination to consume everything all across the grid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. We are live together for the next 3 hours up until 11 a.m. Eastern time. And it is a ceremonious Wednesday, DRS, as all 32 NFL teams report to training camp by the end of today. And as we discussed yesterday, when 30 of 32 NFL clubs had reported to camp, it wasn't so much about the guys that were there. It was more about the guys that were notably absent in contract disputes that continued on a Tuesday and now into this Wednesday morning. Tons of NFL headlines to break down for all of you. We had a full slate Tuesday around the Major League Baseball diamond. As our second set post All-Star break continues, 2 of the best teams in the bigs, the Dodgers and the Tigers, continue to struggle, and the longest win streak in MLB has now come to a close. WNBA action as they get underway post All-Star break as well, and college football media days continue this week. DRS, a ton to break down on this Wednesday.
Absolutely. We'll talk a little big dumper, meaning I'm the only run of this game. Jacob Mizorowski was absolutely fantastic in that game, stays under the 6.5. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But the one thing that I always get interested about, Ben, is back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, when you reported to training camp, like, you did have to take a conditioning test. Like, hey, man, you've been laying concrete this entire offseason, smoking 3 packs of cigs. Were you working out, lifting weights, or actually running? Why do teams still take a conditioning test when they work out at the facility damn near all season long? And does anybody fail that conditioning test when they head towards training camp at this point now? It's one of those formalities that happens, but I always get a kick out of, like, what are they doing, push-ups? And, hey, how many reps can you do at 225? And can you run a mile? Stop the madness. Get them in football camp. Let's get after it. These boys have been working hard.
DRS, you need him out there just to make sure the engine is running and a check under the hood, I guess. Yesterday at training camp, Micah Parsons reporting to training camp for the Cowboys in their Southern California home of Oxnard, California. Our question was going to be, when does that deal get done? After Jerry Jones, a lover of the drama, on Monday took a shot at Micah Parsons and his availability. Parsons, in his response, yesterday, basically, DRS, saying when you go around the league and you see these other talented defensive stars, he referenced TJ Watt, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, getting taken care of by their organizations, even some with multiple years remaining on their contracts. He basically said he wishes he had the same energy from Jerry Jones. No new contract just yet, Micah Parsons. Your owner loves the spotlight and the drama far too much.
No, he certainly does. And by the way, Michael Parsons said a couple key things in that sort of little post-game practice press conference, if you will, where it's like, you know what? I'm not getting paid. Yes, I'm upset about this, but I'm here for the guys. Like, you know, there's multiple guys that he mentioned on the Cowboys team that says, you know what? If they're rehabbing, they're here. I'm here. I got their support. Like, we're going to practice. We'll get through this year. The guy just loves football and being around the team. That's why he always shows up, because typically when you are due the richest contract in the history of the sport as a defender and you're still showing up here, that means you love your teammates and you love that sport here. Show the man some respect. Get him paid, Jerry. Knock off the antics, man. Come on.
It is all about the antics, though. And I think one of the reasons it's smart for Micah Parsons to show up to training camp in Oxnard, this is the Jerry Jones playbook. He loves to have that pre-training camp press conference, make all the headlines focus on Jerry, and then eventually, DRS, even if it's not the most financially savvy thing in the world, he does pay and often top in premium dollars. So I think we will see a deal for Micah Parsons. Just might not be until the end of training camp rather than the beginning. A guy that did not show up to training camp yesterday for the Commanders, Terry McLaurin, still hoping for a new contract for Scary Terry. He has not received one just yet for Washington. And this contract dispute, DRS, strikes me as very curious. It would seem beneficial for both sides to pay Terry McLaurin. The Commanders have not just yet, and McLaurin is not in camp.
Yeah, there's a fracture there because it got to this point. Typically, you can pay everybody, particularly your better players, when you have a sensational quarterback in Jaden Daniels on his rookie contract. But there's something between what they're asking for and what those offers will be, because we heard months ago what the offer was for Terry McLaurin and no movement there. And now it's training camp. He's sitting this one out. He's not even holding in. That's $50,000 a day. He will be fine. Yeah. Washington is not a better football without McLaurin, but also they're saying as a business standpoint, hey, we're offering you good money here. You're going to be into your 30s now. We can't afford to give you that blockbuster deal anymore as if you were 26 or 27 years old.
And that's really the case, DRS. Terry McLaurin is currently 29 years old. This would be his third contract in the NFL with the Commanders. I think it is the age keeping the conversation to a minimum at this moment. James Cook shows up to training camp for the Buffalo Bills amid his own contract conversations. Final year of Cook's rookie deal after a career year last year in Western New York.
Yeah, and you know what? He deserves to be paid as well, the return of the running backs here, but he also understands that the team typically has that hammer holding over you. He's going to get an increase. It's just a matter of how much that increase is going to be. He was phenomenal for the Buffalo Bills last year. They should pay him, but is he on the level of, I want Derrick Henry money, I want Saquon Barkley money? Probably not, but that's what the fight is. Running backs are getting paid. James Cook being the good soldier showing up to camp, he will get paid as well.
Perfectly summed up, DRS. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons for Cook, tied alongside Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs for the most rushing touchdowns in 2024 with 16 in total. A career is now over. A historic one at that for the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. One of the greatest college players we have seen maybe ever at LSU during his collegiate days. After a 12-year NFL career, a 3-time first-team All-Pro performer, and a Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs back in 2019, Mathieu has announced his retirement.
Yeah, this is a tough one here because you're looking at a player that's setting up an organization at this point saying, hey, I expect you to be my starting safety coming in. Now you're down the day before training camp and you got to start searching right now. Usually teams want a little bit of heads up. Couple weeks, I'm not feeling all that well. Maybe he did that, but the love of the game where you just can't force yourself back on that football field, boy, sometimes it happens in an instant. It looks like it happened for the Honey Badger.
Couple of key significant DRS retirements this offseason in the Big Easy. The Seattle Mariners snapped the 11-game win streak of the Milwaukee Brewers. What a pitching duel we had between the rookie and the all-star Big Miz, Jacob Mizorowski, and Logan Gilbert on the other side for the Mariners. Only one single run scored. One zip the victory for the M's. It was Big Dumper with an MLB best 39th home run in the bottom of the 6th that led to the victory. Cal Raleigh delivering to snap that 11-game win streak for the Brew Crew.
Yeah, it wasn't the Miz's fault yesterday. There, guy gets taken out of the game, solo home run. What was it, in the 6th inning at this point? Is that right? Because I'm just looking at that graphic right here. How long did Miz actually go in that game? Let me see here.
3 2/3.
Only 3 2/3. This got flamed out early. I didn't see that here. Only 64 pitches there at that point. But still, you had a win streak on the line. Couldn't score one run here. Seattle Mariners, that's what happens at T-Mobile. 1 run scored yesterday. Stays way under.
DRS, what a throwback yesterday. Rich Hill on the bump. He's 45. 45-year-old Venus Williams in Washington, D.C. wins in straight sets over world number 35 Peyton Stearns in Venus's first match in nearly a year and a half.
How about that? And also, I saw her post-game press conference or post-match press conference, and she had to come back. She was on Cobra. She was on Cobra right now. Had to get that health insurance, kick back in and play some tennis. Good for her.
Second oldest women to win a WTA match ever. WNBA in action yesterday. The Lynx blow out the Sky. The Liberty beat the Fever. Plenty more on TEL next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
We have told you since the very first day of this month that July is a month of football. We are 8 days away from our first NFL game of the year, albeit a preseason one, at the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio, between the Chargers and the Lions. But today, DRS, this Wednesday, July 23rd, feels special, feels significant in setting on the path of the 2025 NFL campaign. How come? Because as of today, all 32 NFL teams will report to training camp. Our final two clubs to show up to camp, the Atlanta Falcons and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Welcome in Aaron Rodgers for camp number 21 of his NFL career, his first in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. So DRS, with everybody now reporting to training camp, and when I say everybody, I mean all 32 organizations, not all of those key players necessarily. There are so many headlines for us to break down basically every day when it comes to going around the National Football League. Not just a little bit of news here and there. So much to dive into in every single spot around the NFL.
Yeah, keeping it gripped right here on SportsGrid, because obviously we're very tech savvy out here watching all the social media outlets, and teams are reporting to training camp today. So if it pops up on my screen that somebody's reporting to camp, somebody's getting a big deal, somebody's leaving camp because they're not happy with their contract deal, we get right involved in that. And it's fun because you're right about this. So much of the conjecture of the offseason. The offseason officially ended, Ben, today. Everybody's in camp. This is where the season starts, and you're going to get beat writers being able to get the players in front of microphones and asking questions like we saw yesterday. And players aren't going to have great responses if things aren't going their way, as you saw with Micah Parsons, and then also Trey Hendrickson, who's like, I'm not even going to talk because I'm not even going to show up to camp. So fun times right now, superstars trying to get paid. Things should work their way through here by the time we get to game number 1, but you never know with some of these dumb organizations.
Hendrickson not even in the state of Ohio, according to his Instagram post. DRS saying how social media savvy he is. He was all over that location tag. DRS Micah Parsons hoping for a new deal in Dallas. Has been in the NFL for 4 years after being a first-round pick in 2021 for the Cowboys. It is the final year of his rookie contract, and of course, he is more than deserving of being paid. We have seen edge rushers get paid in a big way. Most recently, TJ Watt at $41 million per year, becoming the highest paid non-QB in NFL history. Jerry Jones on Monday, as the Cowboys showed up to training camp in Oxnard, California, taking a shot at Micah Parsons, saying, although we will pay him, if we do pay him, doesn't mean he's going to be available for every game. He missed 6, actually 4 games a season ago. Micah Parsons responding yesterday, highlighting DRS basically guys like Watt and Myles Garrett and Max Crosby getting paid handsomely this offseason and with some financial foresight, something his owner Jerry Jones does not do. Micah basically saying, I would love that same energy of getting taken care of early and not have this thing drag on into training camp.
And he's right about it. You want this taken care of. You're supposed to get paid. You want to get paid. But also understand this. We're not talking about like a Brock Purdy situation. Like, dude, kid's making $700K. Like, Micah Parsons is due $20+ million this year on the 5th year of his option. Is he worth much more than that? Sure he is. But he's certainly not going to go hungry if he has to play on this contract or say, you know what? I'm going to ride this out like Kirk Cousins. I'm going to ride this out like Dak Prescott. We're going to have to start tagging me. I'm going to make like 50, 60, 70 million guaranteed every year until we sign a deal. This deal is going to get done, but it's just interesting, like the infighting from the organization itself, which is basically Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons, who seemingly like they got along well. And as we keep talking about, that one meeting in February, March, where everything was worked out. Now here we are, April, May, June, and July, and nothing is worked out. It seems like the animosity is kicking in, because understand this too. That meeting that they had, let's just say, Ben, in March, it's no longer relevant. Multiple players got signed to bigger deals here. So if you said, hey, we had an agreement at $39.5 million. Well, now you don't, because everybody else got signed, and now it's my turn to get signed. I probably made an extra $5 million a year just waiting till all these checks cleared, including like TJ Watt, who just got $108 million guaranteed on his extension. So that's the way I look at it, because he might have, Jerry Jones, hey, I thought we had this worked out. Yeah, but nothing was signed. Now the price of the brick goes higher. I want more money. And Jerry's like, no. We're going back to March. I thought we agreed upon a deal. This could get a little bit uglier, but at the same time, I don't anticipate Micah Parsons missing any time. He can't. Like, Jerry can't play this. Everybody knows he has to get paid, including Jerry Jones. Just pay him. Pay him.
But we also know that DRS the last few off seasons, especially last year, that everybody had to get paid as well in CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. And Jerry Jones doesn't care if he could have saved $5 million per year. Jerry Jones doesn't care if his pocketbook would be a little bit lighter with some financial foresight. In fact, what Jerry Jones seems to care more about is the drama and then making the headline. Micah Parsons, now the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. And Jerry can be like, see, see how I take care of my guys, because ultimately I expect that to be the case. It is some posturing right now, no doubt about it. But I think that drama is what Jerry Jones and this Cowboys organization thrives upon. Donnie and I often commend front offices and general managers for having financial foresight and paying a player early. Ergo, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner just over a week ago. They were paid after the third year of their rookie contract, so you balance out that big extension over the final 2 years of their discounted rookie rate. And by the time they come up next year, DRS, or at the end of their 5 years around the NFL, what you paid them to make Sauce Gardner the highest paid corner in the National Football League, or Garrett Wilson, the only ever wide receiver to receive more than $31 million per year after only 3 in the NFL. Those historic headlines now look like a discount in 18 months.
Exactly. That's it. It's buying Bitcoin, buying real estate right now. Like, oh, I'm going to hold off. Like, oh, no, I missed out. Like buying Shohei Ohtani to win the MVP, right? Oh, I could have got it at plus 140, plus 160. Now it's minus 20,000. We know it's going to get there at this point. And Jerry should know that as a business person. And he seems to be okay with it. Like Jerry's always going to have enough to pay these athletes. If there was no salary cap constraints, he could care less. Hey, look, make it all the way through. I'll pay you whatever you need because we make so much money anyway. But the fact of the matter is you can build a better team if you're smarter as a businessman working within the salary cap. And he's doing the opposite. That's why Dallas doesn't have any Super Bowl championship runs. You can afford 3 or 4 more players if you sign your good players earlier.
That was on the nose. More on the early line next.
What do you make of the season that Barkley had last year as he piled on the yards to get over 2,000, and what can that look like this year?
His year could have been much better with different circumstances here. So he was great. I assume he'll be great again. You want to take Jahmyr Gibbs? I don't have an issue with it, but, Barkley, you're going to lose the tush push.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
This is interesting. Minus 116s, minus 120s in the marketplace. We're seeing now minus 140s across the board and 6.5s on the total.
He's not a big strikeout pitcher. His metrics look terrible, but he somehow seemingly get 5 innings, 6 innings, only 1 earned run. It's because he's a super ground ball pitcher, induces that soft and medium contact. He can essentially sap the power away from the Dodgers.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Drummond gives you minutes off the bench. I've always been a big Kelly Oubre guy. And Nick Nurse is supposed to be one of the top 5 coaches in the world. You can't tell me that at 12-1, the Philadelphia 76ers aren't at least something you need to consider as a sleeper to make it to the NBA Finals.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How are you going to compete against a guy with 15 entries?
A lot of the guys that won Survivor at the Circa, because since I'm there every single year for contest weekend, one guy won it all with 1 entry. And the truth is, he told me that he maxed out his entries the next year because he had the money to do it, and it was a brain. It messed with his brain, right?
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
On this Wednesday, all 32 NFL teams show up to training camp. Our final 2 clubs, the Falcons and the Steelers today. That means 30 of 32 reported to training camp by the end of yesterday, DRS. And of course, when the guys are showing up, you're kind of looking at the entrances and walk-ins to see who is there. but also who is not. In Western New York, in Orchard Park, James Cook shows up for the Buffalo Bills in negotiations to get his second deal with the Bills in the final year of his rookie contract. Terry McLaurin did not show up for the Commanders, now holding out, trying to look for that third contract with Washington.
Yeah, and you know what? Get your money when you can in the NFL. You don't get to play 25 years as if it's Tom Brady and some anomaly here. You typically have that one chance to strike. It's the last contract or big contract we're probably going to see for Terry McLaurin, and he wants his money and understands, hey, Washington, you got some money that you could throw around before this quarterback is going to break the bank and get his $50, $60, $70 million a year contract in a couple years. And also, he is a team leader. He is a good guy. He's been there throughout his career. They love him in Washington. It's interesting that they're at an impasse on what that actual financials are supposed to look at between the two, because usually the blockbuster deals are what, Ben? 3-4 years, $100 million, 70 guaranteed. And the last I saw was like 3 years, 60 some odd million with, again, a pretty good portion of it guaranteed, but it's not that superstar mega contract that you're looking at that sort of would turn the tide, let's just say, of that. So for me, I do think he gets paid, but they must be far apart to let it get this ugly between him and the organization. I wonder how far it goes. And also, usually have the sit-in, right? It's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to show up so I don't get 50,000. He's so upset. He's like, fine me to 50 G's. I can't even be around this team right now because of how disrespectful I feel like I'm getting treated.
DRS, 11 guys in the NFL at the wide receiver spot make $28 million per year or more. Basically, all 11 of those guys have signed that extension at some point in the last 2 off seasons. Only one of them is 30-plus years old. That is Tyreek Hill, who is 31. Terry McLaurin, currently 29, but turns 30 this upcoming September, which is already his 7th year in the National Football League. It's part of probably why that veteran status is holding up the negotiations, when McLaurin is certainly deserving of being in that echelon of 28 mil plus, one of the 11 or 12 best receivers in the National Football League. And again, how good you are is not really depending on when you are paid and what the salary cap is looking like. James Cook has been great his 3 years in Buffalo. The return and resurgence of the running back in salary as well. We'll see what that deal might look like for the Bills. Brandon Ayuk got paid last offseason, one of those 11 wide receivers making 28 mil or more per year. But of course, DRS, in week 7 in the Super Bowl rematch against KC, tore his ACL, part of a disappointing season for the 49ers in 2024, plagued by significant injuries, Ayuk certainly included. John Lynch, as the Niners showed up to training camp yesterday, talking about that timetable, said the team is happy with how Brandon Ayuk is progressing, but it's far too early to set a timeline on his return to action.
Yeah, that's not good. But by the way, what did you expect? An ACL and an MCL injury week 7 last year. Usually you're looking at a full year, but also at a time where the 49ers, like, hey, they're talented. Their defense isn't as good as what it has been over the past 5 years or expected to be this year. You take a look at the skill positions, like, hey, McCaffrey's supposed to come back healthy. Is he really healthy? And running backs, are, once they start to go downhill with injuries, they usually don't come back here at this point. And also you trade away Deebo Samuel, and now you look at yourself and say, okay, Juwan Jennings, like, now's the time for me to cash in. I don't know if I want to be here unless you pay me more money, even though you just paid me last year. There's a lot of question marks with the 49ers, but like the worst question mark is, boy, you just signed a wide receiver to a big deal and he just blows his knee out. He might never regain form here. Tough season here for the San Francisco 40, setting up with more questions than answers right now. And that big question is, we don't know when Brandon Ayuk's coming back. Ooh, that's a tough one.
A 6-win team last year, DRS, by the Bay. Super Bowl 60 is hosted in Santa Clara at Levi's Stadium, the home of the 49ers. And although it was a disappointing season, the odds always look optimistically on Kyle Shanahan's club. A minus 194 price for the 49ers, minus 192, excuse me. But still the point stands. The second most likely, the second best number to see the postseason in the NFC. Again, sky-high expectation for SF. Tyrann Mathieu, DRS, calls it a career after 12 NFL seasons, the past 3 in New Orleans. He retires at age 33.
Yeah, again, leaving the New Orleans Saints there out of the loop at this point, but that guy always played with a lot of fire, a true playmaker on the field. He'll be missed in the NFL. He's a lot of fun just to watch and certainly perform on a week-to-week basis.
A Super Bowl champ with the Chiefs in 2019, a 3-time All-Pro performer as well. We salute you, Honey Badger. More on the early line next.
What do you make of the season that Barkley had last year as he piled on the yards to get over 2,000, and what can that look like this year?
His year could have been much better with different circumstances here. So he was great. I assume he'll be great again. You want to take Jahmyr Gibbs? I don't have an issue with it, but, Barkley, yeah, you're going to lose the tush push.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
This is interesting. Minus 116s, minus 120s in the marketplace. We're seeing now minus 140s across the board and 6.5s on the total.
He's not a big strikeout pitcher. His metrics look terrible, but he somehow seemingly get 5 innings, 6 innings, only 1 earned run. It's because he's a super ground ball pitcher, induces that soft and medium contact. He can essentially sap the power away from the Dodgers.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Drummond gives you minutes off the bench. I've always been a big Kelly Oubre guy. And Nick Nurse is supposed to be one of the top 5 coaches in the world. You can't tell me that at 12-1, the Philadelphia 76ers aren't at least something you need to consider as a sleeper to make it to the NBA Finals.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
How are you going to compete against a guy with 15 entries?
A lot of the guys that won Survivor at the Circa, because since I'm there every single year for contest weekend, one guy won it all with 1 entry. And the truth is, he told me that he maxed out his entries the next year because he had the money to do it, and it was a brain. It messed with his brain, right?
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
A few more NFL headlines from the opening day of training camp for 30 clubs. And as of this Wednesday, all 32 NFL teams. DRS 255 of our 257 NFL draft picks from April. That includes all 7 rounds have been signed, except for 2. Quinshon Judkins, the rookie running back out of Ohio State and Ole Miss, who a few weeks ago was arrested on a domestic assault charge in Florida. He remains unsigned. Obviously, his future in the NFL very much uncertain right now. And the only other player that remains unsigned out of 257 is the only first-round rookie without a current contract. That is Shamar Stewart. No off-the-field issues, just that default clause in his contract. Again, 255 of 257, except for Shamar Stewart and Quinshon Judkins for varying reasons.
Yeah, Judkins are probably just going to wait to see the legalities and how it plays out, if the charges get pressed, if not. I mean, he's going to play this season, but they're not going to be fast to say, I'm going to give you all this signing bonus money, and we don't know how this actually turns out, and could this be a thing into the future at this point. Shamar Stewart, I just want to see that microphone in front of Mike Brown's face every single day and just have them say stupid things over and over and over, like it's this kid's fault, who's, giving him the advice here. But again, there's 2 guys in the NFL that are unsigned right now. One is going through legal issues. One is just saying my team actually doesn't want me, and there's a clause in this contract that probably hopes I get arrested and they can take back the signing bonus money to buy another car or do something in the Brown family. I'll continue to bash that organization left and right. Get the guy in camp. Sign Trey Hendrickson. Get him in camp. And by the way, Ben, the question marks yesterday about Trey Hendrickson, he's really hard to deal with. What? I don't know. I wish you could just vote out ownership groups at this point, because Mike Brown wouldn't have made it through 1991 at this point. But it's a shame, because this team has so much to look forward to in this upcoming season if the right things happen on defense, and they're just going the absolute wrong way with it.
By reports, DRS, that Trey Hendrickson really was putting out to reporters around the NFL, they are so far off on the guaranteed money offered that Trey Hendrickson won't even consider it. When you look at guaranteed money for the edge rushers that just got paid, $108 million for TJ Watt, more than $123 million for Myles Garrett, more than $90 million for Max Crosby earlier this offseason. Trey Hendrickson is saying basically the guaranteed money offered to me would cover 1 year. That's around $30 to $35 million. We would assume, obviously, that is substantially less than any of those other guys. It is a really tough look for a guy that has stacked up 17 and a half sacks each of the previous 2 years. A few more notes, DRS, around the NFL. Matthew Stafford, the veteran, 37 years old, limited to start training camp. Nothing probably to see there. Kyren Williams, much like James Cook, entering the final year of his rookie deal, has been incredibly productive. Are we going to see, though, the resurgence of the running back for guys that are into their final year of their rookie contract? James Cook, a second-round pick, fifth-round selection for Kyren Williams out of Notre Dame. The Raiders adding three-time All-Pro performing safety Jamal Adams, who has played only a total of 15 games the last 3 years and was last a Pro Bowler in 2020. That, of course, though, in Seattle under Pete Carroll. He reunites with that head coach in Sin City.
Yeah, he's trying to get the band back together in Sin City, which I don't know what Jamal Adams offers other than maybe getting a couple sacks. He gets toasted, roasted left and right when he's trying to actually be lined up on a slot receiver or actually a wide receiver on the outside. I don't know if that's going to help, but just going through another topics there. Like Kyren Williams is a very interesting story along with James Cook, because it feels like they are very good running backs. They are in the top 10 in the NFL. There's no question about it. But I do understand like running backs are getting paid now. But are they looking, saying, look, do you see what Derrick Henry got and Saquon Barkley got? Like, it's tough to see. Like, even when, Josh Jacobs goes from Vegas over to Green Bay and gets that nice deal and performs well. They're striking while the iron is hot. But I wonder what those negotiations look like when they go, well, how about Saquon? Like, Saquon got a big deal, and then they re-upped him again. Derrick Henry got a big deal. Then they re-upped him immediately after having those sensational seasons last year. And the organizations are probably saying, yeah, we like you. Yeah, you're really good, but we just can't give you that money. Don't you remember this was maybe 15 years ago, maybe a little bit more? Adrian Peterson got that $100 million running back contract, and every team's like, you are not going to hold up Adrian Peterson's contract to me as a running back and say, you're next in line. You're going to get more than that. It was like the anomaly contract. And I just feel like the NFL is trying to settle back into what is a running back actually worth, and is the gold rush going to continue into this whole season? But both of those running backs that we're talking about in Buffalo and LA, being the good soldiers, coming to camp, not upsetting the rhythm, probably feeling that they are close to getting a deal. Let's not upset any hard feelings in the room and get these done.
Yeah, these guys much younger, DRS. Again, 3 years in the NFL. I think both 25 years old or younger, looking for that second deal. The standard we kind of saw set last offseason, around $8 million being the low point for guys like Tony Pollard in Tennessee and DeAndre Swift in Chicago. Josh Jacobs signed a 4-year, $48 million deal in Green Bay and turned out to be worth every penny in his first year with the Pack. The Buccaneers start training camp with Tristan Wirfs, Chris Godwin on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list. That's what we anticipated. Here are the Super Bowl odds for Super Bowl 60. Everybody, even the Titans, as we'll hear later, will tell you they are ready to make a Super Bowl run this year, or that is always the goal. Here are the odds to win a Lombardi Trophy in 2025, and that starts for everybody, all 32 teams today. The Ravens will enter. And note right now, DRS, because it has changed a few times throughout the offseason, at the start of training camp for all, the Ravens are the lone Super Bowl favorites at plus 650, a half buck in front of the Bills, a 7-1 price. Our reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, third best number, plus 750. The Chiefs, not the reigning Super Bowl champs for the first time since entering that 2022 campaign, but still the reigning AFC champions for a third consecutive year, plus 850. And the Lions round out the top five at 11-1. You see Jared Goff there. We will focus on the NFC North a little bit later on in our second hour.
Yeah, and if you look at three teams on that list here, the most talented teams in the NFL, it's the Baltimore Ravens, it's the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Detroit Lions for me, 1, 2, 3. Now, granted, some of those schedules are really tough, but you look at that Ravens roster top to bottom and say it just might be the most talented overall here. If you get an MVP-type performance out of Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry's happy and paid. He'll carry 300 times again this year. The wide receiving core coming into its own. That defense looks electric, including in that secondary. They have all the components that they need to get done to win a Super Bowl. It's just a matter of unlocking Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, getting between his ears and saying, hey, kid, same thing you did in the regular season. Let's do the same thing in the playoffs, and let's roll to a Lombardi trophy to see if that gets done. But we're excited. Those numbers aren't going to change all that much unless we get a devastating injury. And then, of course, once we see the first 1, 2, 3 games of the season to sort of recalibrate those conditions. But it's exciting. There's a lot of teams that can win the Super Bowl this year. And when you are the Super Bowl champions like the Philadelphia Eagles, you get the worst draft pick in the NFL. You get the toughest schedule in the NFL. It's hard to climb back up that mountain. We'll see if they can do that again this year.
Yes, it is DRS, but a $3.50 gap now. The Lions moved back by $1. Not entirely sure why, but bad news for Detroit on the first day of training camp on Saturday. The Lions, one of the two teams that will play in the Hall of Fame game in Canton a week from tomorrow. Levi Onwuzurike, who is one of their defensive tackles, and of course defensive health was a big storyline for Detroit in that playoff run. A knee injury already out for the rest of this season. The Lions are a buy-in price for me at 11-1. Yeah. But how significant is that coordinator drop-off? The Bengals would be at 22-1. But I got to see Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart show up to camp before I buy into that number. It has moved back, by the way, from its peak earlier in the offseason, 17 or 19-1 just a few weeks ago. And we talked about the Dallas Cowboys, normally a very optimistic Super Bowl price, despite not winning a Lombardi for 3 decades, 47-1. Jerry loves the drama, but the drama holds back Dallas. There's no other way to slice it.
Yeah, they should just start asking them gambling questions like, Jerry, you know you're close to 50-1 to win the Super Bowl. That's really bad odds. Maybe you should learn how to work the salary cap better, improve the team's conditions, and also pay your good players when they're available to be paid so you can save money.
Yeah. Let's get DRS to Dallas, huh? MLB headlines next.
Your approach with Marion Hampton is, if you're going to draft him aggressively and early, you better be patient, because it might take half a season before he really takes over this backfield, and it might never happen this year, depending on how Harris performs. Gadsden and Disley so far not fantasy relevant at this time. Again, a more run-heavy offense. Hampton and Najee Harris, very intriguing, but the ADP, I think, on both of them is slightly off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark, injured. Asia Wilson, not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back 9 of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, oh, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy. Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me, and I almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him, and I've settled on what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Ingram.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball recaps from a full Tuesday around the sport live right here on a Wednesday morning on the early line on SportsGrid. DRS, a ton of focus last night on the Pacific Northwest, the Seattle Mariners and the Milwaukee Brewers. Great pitching matchup entering, and it delivered. Logan Gilbert for Seattle, for Milwaukee, the All-Star, the Big Miz, and the rookie Jacob Mizorowski. And a lot of focus as well on the Brewers, with the best record in baseball yesterday and an 11-game win streak. Would they get to 12? No. Snapped by the M's yesterday, a slight home favorite in a very low-scoring affair. 1-0. That was it. How was the only run registered out in the Northwest? Home half of the 6th inning. Big Dumper snapping his own skid. A 7-game streak without hitting a dinger. On Dinger Tuesday, he delivers with a homer, his 39th of the year, to snap Milwaukee's 11-game win streak. Big victory for the M's, who are also playing pretty good baseball in July, and that 11-game win streak for Milwaukee does now come to a close.
Yep, can't win them all. It's just a shame that you lose a game 1-0 where you didn't get any offense going. The game combined, by the way, was 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position. But from a Brewers perspective, not scoring, going 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position, that hurts. I don't know why Mizorowski only went 3 2/3 innings pitched. Like, he wasn't crazy. He had 1 walk. He had 7 strikeouts, 64 pitches here. Maybe you'd like to see him go longer, but a couple innings catch up to him. Mariners get that home run with Cal Raleigh, and so be it. But once again, you're not going to win every game. I still like what the Brewers are doing right now. And if you're getting starting pitching like that, where this guy's touching 100 repeatedly, talking about Jacob Mizorowski, you're in some pretty good shape here. And that offense, which had been showing up over the past 2 weeks, didn't show up last night, but it happens. You just run into a steamroller sometimes, and that's Logan Gilbert. 6 1/3 innings pitched, 10 Ks, no walks. That's lights out last night out of Logan Gilbert.
An all-star last year for Gilbert, a really good outing, DRS, as you alluded to. Only 64 pitches for the Big Miz. 3 2/3, as I do my math quickly. That's 11 outs. 11 outs coming via a strike, or 7 of those 11 outs coming via a strikeout. 7 Ks for Mizorowski in less than 4 innings of work. But DRS, the turnaround for Milwaukee has been sensational. We'll look at what the records are now around the Bigs in just a moment. But to see Cal Raleigh go deep once again, our Derby champ just over a week ago with his first long ball post All-Star break. He now has 39 this year, still a 3-homer advantage in front of everybody. But it was his only home run since the All-Star break. Aaron Judge, only 1 long ball since the All-Star break. And now there's 3 guys, including the captain in pinstripes, with 36 home runs. Eugenio Suarez, who might not be in Arizona come the end of next week. 5 home runs since the break, all 5 Saturday, Sunday, multiple homers, and a home run on Monday as well. And Shohei Ohtani lights out at the dish. 4 consecutive games with a homer, even yesterday in the home half of the 9th, as the Dodgers were trailing by 5 runs. They got beat by the Twins bad, 10-7, but Shohei Ohtani does clobber home run number 36.
Yeah, I was up watching that game last night, or bits and pieces of it here. The Dodgers just don't have it together right now. Like, the pitching isn't working, and then all of a sudden the hitting snaps back, but the pitching falls through. Just was a tough night overall, but Shohei Ohtani once again showing why he is the single best player in Major League Baseball. 4 straight game with a home run, longest in his career. And by the way, talking about home runs, you sort of see that at, like, Aaron Judge, 0 for 3 again last night, that batting average dipping lower and lower. It'll be interesting to see where this goes. Like, let's just say we have a second half swoon for Aaron Judge, which I'm not anticipating. He's going to snap back. He's going to have his nights where he hits 2 home runs or 6 home runs in a 7-game stretch. I think that will happen. But what happens if we don't see him and he's like, okay, I end up with 40 home runs and I hit 321 for the season? Is it just a de facto MVP at that point when Cal Raleigh's swinging for the fences and hitting maybe 10 more home runs than Aaron Judge? That's going to be something I want to see shape up right now. So I'm trying to just track down quickly the awards market, which I do have now. Aaron Judge, minus 700. Shohei Ohtani, minus 1,600. But that Aaron Judge price is sitting there going like, yeah, we think Cal Raleigh's going to slow down. Aaron Judge will heat up. Let's see what happens here. Could that get any closer where now you might find value on Judge before that roller coaster starts going back uphill as opposed to coming down that it is right now?
It's slightly a stronger price, DRS, by about $1 than what it was at the All-Star break last week, around -600. But Aaron Judge still a hefty favorite and really has been all year long. He is still the slight favorite at even money to be the home run leader when the year is done. Cal Raleigh still maintains that 3-homer advantage. Shohei Ohtani growing closer and closer by the day. Ohtani, by the way, -1,600 to win the National League MVP award. DRS, when we look at Milwaukee, by the way, Pat Murphy, manager for Milwaukee, who won NL Manager of the Year last year, said that Jacob Mizorowski only threw 64 pitches because that was kind of what they were expecting. That was his first start. He did throw an inning in the All-Star game exactly a week prior to his start last night, but his first start since Tuesday, July 8th. So in terms of regulation outings, about a 2-week gap in between. That's why he only went 64 pitches in his sixth career start, but still shoving up there. You would think that the youngster might have more in the tank. But DRS, the turnaround for Milwaukee has been sensational. 29-13, the record since June. Best in baseball. But even just a few days before that, Milwaukee was riding an 8-game win streak. The Brew Crew were 3 games below 500, 25-28 on May 24th. They're 35-13 since. It is why Milwaukee, despite the loss yesterday and a Cubs win, getting to Rich Hill inside the friendly confines, we have a tie atop the National League Central, the National League, in all of Major League Baseball. 2 best records right now in the bigs. Inside the friendly confines for the Cubbies, 60-41, and in Milwaukee with the Brewers as well.
Yeah, usually we forget about the central divisions here in Major League Baseball. The American, it's probably going to be the Twins, and they're boring. They'll get swept by the Yankees in round number 1. And Cubs are a good story. The Brewers are a decent story, but they don't factor in. But 2 teams now with 60 wins in the NL Central is pretty impressive at that point as they start to march down the stretch. But get back to Mizorowski. Like sometimes it's like back in the Nolan Ryan era. Like, again, you're not going to throw 137 pitches every start. But when did we get to the point where now we're saying, like, oh, he's too rested to throw more than 75 pitches? Like, what are we doing? The kid is young. He's got bullets in his arm. You're in a pennant race right now. And it's like, hey, he had too much time off. Enough with the madness at this point. Stop it.
That's what we learned yesterday. DRS, you see the Tigers there, 60-42. They've lost 8 of 9. Hoping to avoid a sweep against the Pirates? Next.
Your approach with Marion Hampton is if you're going to draft him aggressively and early, you better be patient because it might take half a season before he really takes over this backfield, and it might never happen this year, depending on how Harris performs. Gadsden and Disley so far not fantasy relevant at this time. Again, a more run-heavy offense. Hampton and Najee Harris, very intriguing, but the ADP, I think, on both of them is slightly off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark injured. Asia Wilson not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has like gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back 9 of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, oh, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy. Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me, and I've almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him, and I've settled on what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Ingram.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
More headlines and recaps from yesterday around Major League Baseball. DRS, we start in the 6th, where the Yankees delivered a much-needed victory yesterday against the Blue Jays. Cam Schlittler, the young rookie, against Max Scherzer, the veteran. Both guys pretty solid. The Yankees led 4-1 DRS, but Toronto came all the way to tie it back at 4-all in the 6th. Enter Ben Rice in the top half of the 9th, delivering a solo shot to give the Pinstripes a 5-4 lead, and Devin Williams converts with the save. The Yankees hold on to get a much-needed victory and cut into the lead. The Blue Jays are starting to build in the American League East. The Yankees were actually a slight road underdog yesterday up in Canada. Just the 14th game this year for New York booked as the dog, the fewest in MLB. The 5-4 victory for the Yankees yesterday, and now just a 3-game lead for the Blue Jays atop the American League East.
Yeah, good win for the Yankees, and also a good game for Cody Bellinger, 3 of 4 at the plate, which included a home run. So he's batting .285 now in the season, and helping out Aaron Judge, who went 0 for 3 and dips down to .346. So if Judge isn't performing and you can still win baseball games, you got to love that. And Max Scherzer, we told you yesterday, I thought this game would go over, ended up with a push at 9. Scherzer, 5 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. That's exactly the pitcher he is now. So at least they capitalized the Yankees on that. But understand this.
Yeah.
Yankees were 1 of 4 in runners in scoring position. Didn't have that many chances because they were hitting home runs. The Blue Jays, who lost by 1 run, 3 of 13 with runners in scoring position. That's interesting right there, because if they could have clocked in a couple more, they win again, which really would have had a devastating effect on the Yankees. But credit them for winning that game, even though they didn't have that many runners in scoring position there.
DRS, I'm not sure it's going to come down to a tiebreaker necessary atop the American League East, but the Blue Jays have won 6 of 9 against the Yankees this year. 4 more games remaining between these teams, including the finale of this midweek set today in Toronto. We'll look at the American League East odds with a 3-game lead for Toronto, but basically seemingly going to change each and every day. How about the top of the National League East? A guy that felt as though he was snubbed by the National League last week from making the All-Star game continues to absolutely shove. Christopher Sanchez, have yourself a night against the Boston Red Sox. A complete game against the Sox. Only a single earned run allowed, only 4 base knocks in 12 strikeouts. Christopher Sanchez, DRS, has basically been unhittable since the beginning of June, as the Phillies beat Boston 4-1 to take the opening 2 games of this set behind Zach Wheeler and Christopher Sanchez. And despite not a ton of offense, just enough to get a second consecutive dub.
I mean, absolutely filthy. 9 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run given up against one team that usually hits left-handed pitching really, really well. 12 strikeouts in that performance, 106 pitches on that complete game. And by the way, if I remember, Christopher Sanchez didn't pitch in the All-Star game, had some time off at that point. Hey, he went 106 pitches. I guess if you're a veteran, you can do that, but not if you're a young guy that has a much more lively arm at this point. But the Phillies need everything they can get out of these starters, because the offense really hasn't come around as we wait till the trade deadline to maybe add an extra bat. But you look at it sometimes like, why do we have to add anything? Our pitchers absolutely pitch extremely well every single night. It's like an anomaly when Ranger Suarez goes out the other day and doesn't pitch well. You expect like 7 innings and 1 earned run or less from this Philly starters. It's phenomenal to watch it play out. And he was absolutely filthy last night. Every pitch, Ben, was working, as you saw, with the 12 strikeouts and no walks, ahead in every single count.
Just ridiculous stuff. 9-2 overall this year with a 2.40 ERA for Christopher Sanchez. And since the start of June, in 9 starts, he has gone at least 6 innings in all 9. He has a 5-1 record. DRS, lights out. A 1.63 ERA entering since the beginning of June. That, of course, dropping, only allowing a single earned in a complete game of work. So the Yankees even up their midweek set against the Blue Jays for the first time, DRS, after Toronto built up the 4-game lead in the American League East entering Tuesday. The Jays were the favorites to win the East. Now it's the Yankees once again at -125, probably because they have one of the top shortstops in baseball in Anthony Volpe, who continues to kick that thing around at short. The National League East, the Philadelphia Phillies, a -money favorite, -175, but just a half-game lead for Philly. The Mets rally in the 5th yesterday, winning 3-2 to knock off the Angels.
Yeah, Mets are good. Mets and the Phillies are going to battle all through the season. I've been saying it for weeks and weeks and weeks. One team up a game or two, other team up a game or two. But I do think the Phillies will win out because their starting pitching is better than the New York Mets. And then there's the Atlanta Braves, who got smoked yesterday and sit 13 and a half games back now in the NL East. Trade deadline's coming up. Players from that team, they will be on the move.
The Giants snapped a 6-game slide in Atlanta, winning 9-0. I mean, it's bad for the Braves. Hour number 2, next.